Good evening. It's the 26th. I'm just going to turn this tap off. I'll be back in 1 second. Sorry about that. 7 o'clock in the evening, or 10 to 7 anyway, 26th of November, and I'm in the greenhouse working. I've had to come in tonight because I've been out all day. I've had quite a few questions about grow lights this week, so I thought I would come in, put some grow lights on, explain what I know a little bit about grow lights. I'm also ready to start setting some more leak heads. For those who haven't experienced setting their own heads, a lot of people phone up who are novices and ask, what's grass, where do the leaks come from. They say, can I grow from seed? Well, yeah, we do grow a bit from seed, but I'm going to be setting grass tonight. So what I'll do, I'm going to take the camera off its tripod and I'll walk you around and talk about a few lights. Right, I'm on watering. I water once a week with the hose pipe with a very, very fine rose on. And I give a good watering once a week, saturate everything. As you can see, it's dripping down onto the floors. In between, I do water with the watering can with a fine rose on, but I do think you need to give a really good watering once a week to get it down, through the pots. Right, we'll start off with lights at the moment. As I say, I am being asked mainly lights with onions, and a few people lights, how long do you give your lights on the leaks? Well, I'm going to show you what I do. Now, these two lights here I purchased 12 months ago. This is an LED and it is a full spectrum. I think the colours will show on here. This is slightly higher on the red end than it is on the blue, but it does cover a full spectrum. It's a 4 foot long tube, and as you can see, it doesn't cover a great part of the bench, and you do need LEDs to be fairly close to the plants. It doesn't give off any heat, and it's very cheap to run. The only thing was, this particular light was about £300, so it's not cheap. I can't speak a lot on LEDs because they are new to me. I don't know a great deal about them. These two lights actually arrived with me. I bought them direct from the factory in China, and they arrived with me late last season. So they were hardly ever on. I just tested them for a few days to see if I could see a difference, and to be honest, over a short period I didn't. So I still kind of prefer the high pressure metal halide and the high pressure sodium. So that's one particular light. This is another one. Now this gives off a blue light. Well, it gives off all spectrum of light. I'm going to show you. Each time we switch the light off, I hope you can see, that's off. That's back on, and that's changed to proper blue. So I'm now on the blue spectrum, or the high end of blue anyway. Switch it off. Back on, it's now red spectrum. So this one I can change to a balanced spectrum, which I will do again. Switch it off. Switch it back on. That's a balance. And then I can switch to blue, and I can also switch to red. I'll just see if we can get that on the... More blue, and the red. So again, I can decide which one I need it on, depends upon the plants I'm growing. We'll move along. I have some work going on. I'll get a little bit done tonight and the rest tomorrow morning. As you can see, I've been getting trays prepared, and this is to set, if you remember at the weekend, I put some leak heads. You can see the flickering, that's just the light. You can see it's really good grass. You can see there's some coming off here now. Just clean that up. But as you can see, if I take it away from that, it's producing good roots on there, lovely and clean. That was the first head I did, and as you can see in there, again, if we can look, I don't know if that's focused properly, but it's got tremendous roots coming out of it. They've been in Domestos for 24 hours, As you can see, very nice and clean. If the grass is long like that, I do snap it in half, and I just set maybe an inch of grass into. Get some more grass out of here and see what it's coming like. I've still got domestos in it, but it's clean domestos. As soon as I've stepped one head in it, the water's tipped out, and fresh water's put in a gallon with 7.5 mils of domestos, and then I put the heads in. This was put in last night, and as you can see, they're still fastened together. There we are. Nice roots on them. Just a little bit clean and tidy up around the base there. That's the stalk where there's possibly been a seed head coming out, and they will be placed into individual cells, starting in the corner, just placed in. I will shorten that. I cut that in half, and that's what we would do. This is just general multi-purpose compost. It's just an amateur one, it's not the commercial. I have ran short of the module one. I haven't sieved it. I don't mind if there's any rough particles or anything in it. Most people seem to like very fine, but I'm not adverse to putting ordinary compost in. It's been prepared, it's been well watered. It was put into a steep tray and steeped for a few minutes, and then I am coming down with the hose pipe with a very fine rose, so I will water over the top. So that's the setting of the leeks. Still a few heads here, and they're all looking decent. As we can see, I've got the ordinary fluorescents which I would do my work in. They're not bad, and they give light off, but if you look across the greenhouse, it's kind of dark compared to what the lights, the proper grow lights do. I've just put these two on. I don't normally have lights switched on. I have got 10 lights through the greenhouse. The scarlet fly flying around there, I don't know if you can see it. I'll have to get on top of that. It's a right bugger to get rid of, the scarlet fly. That particular bulb is the metal halide, 600 watt. This particular bulb is the sodium high pressure. Again, this is the balanced spectrum, but having said that, even on a balanced on the sodium, it is slightly higher in red. So I have alternate lights all the way along. We move from that one, which is the sodium, back onto the metal halide, and I do alternate them all the way along. All of these particular plants here, they're still in cells. These have had not 7 days, anything from 5 to 7 days, depending on how they've performed, how well they've come away, and how small they were when they were put into the growth cabinet. I don't usually put light on in this greenhouse unless I've got a problem, plants aren't growing correctly. Then I would put the lights on, and obviously they would be lower. They're on pulleys, so I can lower these down, not too close to these plants, because these are intense light, and you can feel it virtually burning your hand there. So, and also on this particular shade, I can hold there, you can see there's a shadow underneath. You can see the shadow as I move my hand. Moving into the growth cabinet, which I will do, I'll show you here. This is a different light. We've looked at these already. These are the sodium. These are on 24 hours, and the onions are growing very well. They're ready to be pricked out now. A lot of people say they should have been pricked out at the crook stage. I never do. I always wait until I have a good root structure, and they'll be ready just to pop out and separate and plant up. They take very little check, and I've never lost any by doing it this way. One of the questions a young lad was asking, how much light should he give his onions, and what type of light? I've used lights for probably 30 years, and you gain a little bit of knowledge about lights in that space of time. I've learned about the spectrum, the intensity, the velocity of the light, the power watts that they produce. Basically, to try and put it in a nutshell, for the amateur grower, I think the T5 is possibly the best light. It's easy, it doesn't burn, again, no heat, they can be very close down to the plants, and as you can see, these particular onion plants have been in here maybe 10 days, and they've romped away, they're really growing well. So you can, give them light and without much worry. The first time I used the high pressure lights next door, I did lose a lot of leeks overnight because I hadn't given enough water, and the intense heat that they were producing, because I didn't have the correct volume of fans and extractors and everything in there, so the plants did burn. But this is a foolproof one, and to be honest, I think it's good enough for onions and possibly for setting leeks away to start with. If you leave your plants on here too long, I do believe that it produces a slightly leggy plant, not particularly stocky. Having said that, after 10 days these are beautiful. Some people leave them on for up to 6 weeks, 24 hours, and then drop them to 12 hours. I don't do that. Mine don't get that much light. But as you can see, these are looking good and they are ready to move on. I'm going to move into the growth cabinet to show you. I've got all the doors off. It's normally enclosed. We'll just take a look at the onions. Now these onions are no taller than what's next door, but they are a much stockier plant. So they've got a bigger, fatter leaf on them, and they are looking good. I'm quite pleased with those. This light is only on 12 hours. It's on overnight. I switch it off during daylight, but having said that, I am enclosed. This is actually in a shed, a growth room off the end of the greenhouse, and these are the doors that go on. There's 3 doors fit all the way along here, and it then closes it off and gives it total darkness. Now I do have a humidity, carbon dioxide bottle down here. That's worked off a meter. The carbon dioxide comes up and it's measured up on the meter on the top. I don't know if you can see because of the light, but the meter's measured and it releases a puff which is through this little tube. It's probably every few minutes. It just gives maybe a 3-second puff of carbon dioxide, and it helps us stop the plants from dehydrating. These are watered regular in here, possibly twice a day. When they're brought in, these were just put in here last night. Small plants. These ones here have been in here 3 days, and you can see a difference. Just take a look. After 3 days, they've got a really good root on them. These were put in last night. We'll just take a look. They've got a nice root on them. They're nice plants, but these lights seem to enhance the plant. This particular end, again, metal halide. The far end, metal halide, and they tend to keep the leeks nice and short and squat, give them a beautiful colour, and they enhance vegetative growth. The red light in the middle, which is a sodium bulb, it elongates the cell in the plant. So for all I'm saying the onions are nice and stocky, they are, because I'm getting blue light bounced off from either side. Now what we've got here are the wave shades. These are great. Next door, if you remember, I put my hand under the light and we had shadows underneath. Now my hand's completely under the light, as you can see. It's quite hot there to touch, and there's no shadows. I can move my hand around, no shadows at all under there, because this light bounces all over the place. So this is on 12 hours. The plants are put in here no more than 7 days, but usually I watch them. If they're growing well, they'll come off after maybe 4 days, maybe 5 days. If they're not doing as well as I would expect, then they'll come off after 7 days. And that's what we see on the benches next door. That's more or less the update that I was meaning to do tonight. As we can see, there's plenty of work. I'm on watering the greenhouse first, and then I'm going to start setting leeks. And what I don't get done, I've got a friend who's going to come up tomorrow, and he'll give me a little hand to finish off. Plenty of heads still to set, and I'll be doing that until mid-December. Perfect. I'll turn this around, I think. That's it. Right, that's a little update. It's a midweek one. I may not get a chance this weekend. It's a very busy weekend for me, but at least I brought you up to date just after a few days since the last post. I did sow some onions on Sunday morning. I've just checked, they're not through yet, but I would anticipate that they'll be through tomorrow morning, which is Friday. So that'll be day 5, and I usually find that they come through in 5 days on the heat bed. Plants are rooting up well, that's on the heat bed. Everything seems to be moving along very nicely, and as I say, I'm quite happy with everything. Thanks very much for looking in. We'll see you again now. Bye bye.